Welcome everybody to another whiteboard video. In today's episode, you are going to get an education in the latest and greatest motorcycle memes and trends. Logan, we have the technology, we're fully advanced, and we are moving forward into the future. What's going on with today's episode?
Yeah, I mean, think about all these memes that have permeated motorcycling for forever. The Gixxer Squid, the Kawasaki Kyle, Harley Pirate. These date back 10, 15, 20 years even. You know, it's time we brought the memes into the modern era.
It's crazy because I remember I've been doing this a long time, Logan, and some of the memes I used to make jokes about back in the day, SB650 starters, Ninja 250 guys, Gixxer Squids, it's all feeling a little old hat, you know, it's kind of played out.
And sort of, I think we got to this point of making this video of, you know, working on all these videos every week and sort of trying to make these jokes, trying to make these cultural references, and then realizing, yeah, some of these old memes are a little out of date, you know, so.
Well, out of date. But we try to stay on the cutting edge around here. You gotta stay relevant, you gotta stay with it. So in today's episode, we're gonna be ranking them based on prevalence. How often are we seeing these and how much of an impact are they having on the motorcycling zeitgeist? And then we're also gonna tell you, will they last? We're gonna render our opinion on whether or not these memes and trends are gonna be with us for a long time, like the Gixxer Squid, like the Hayabusa guys.
Like the forever chemicals in our food.
Like the forever chemicals in our food, the microplastics raiding your mind as it were right now. Let's start with the first one. It is, of course, Crankin My Hog. Logan, this is not that prevalent, but I also feel like it's starting to feel a little tired, a little sad, but this is, I think, like the evolution of the Harley Pirate jokes.
Yeah, I think the Crankin My Hog thing, which is of course a reference to, you know, you and your boys get your big stonking V-twins, rev limiter at the stoplight, you know, you're cranking your hog. It's like the modern iteration of the Harley Pirate meme. It's been like distilled down over the last few decades to just be like, Crankin My Hog's like one of the remaining Harley joke holdouts. It's like Crankin My Hog and Clibbins and Deb Fell Off the Back are the ones that I'll still chuckle at every now and again. The Harley Pirate thing, you know, I've heard it a million times. Crankin My Hog, kind of always going to be a little funny.
I think so, and I think it's just like the combination of words. It's like the more you think about it, it just gets funnier because obviously it stands for something we can't really mention here on the channel, right? It's maybe a little not family friendly and appropriate, but yeah, it's like we've evolved. It was kind of like the South Park episode. It's like the Harley guys, like the brother thing, the big loud bikes. I really feel like that's kind of old hat, but yeah, like Crankin My Hog is like, you know, the more I say it, the more I'm kind of chuckling. It's a funny like thing with the Harley community. And yeah, Deb Fell Off the Back, Clibbins, you know, I think that's where like the cutting edge of Harley jokes are. But I'm a little worried, Logan, because, you know, the Harley culture, I feel like it's reaching its end, you know? Like these guys are heading off to the retirement homes.
Right.
But anyways, all that to say, I personally don't think this one's gonna last.
Sure.
I don't think it's gonna last. I think the Harley guys are gonna age out. I think at some point, there's just not going to be any hog crankers anymore.
And,
you know?
in specific verbiage specifically, like I don't think the terms cranking my hog are going to be discussed in another 15 years the way Gixxer Squids or...
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it'll have that kind of staying power. So we're going to say that one will not last. Moving on.
So anyone that's riding a motorcycle in the last year or so is probably familiar with the KTM Camshaft Scandal. It sort of started as, you know, warranty claim denials, Facebook group pandemonium, turned into this sort of running joke, right? We already sort of knew KTMs were notoriously unreliable, whatever, but they were kind of typically left off to the side. KTM guys did their own thing. They had their own copes and we just kind of left them alone. The KTM cheese cam scandal really brought KTM unreliability into the mainstream motorcycling zeitgeist where you couldn't go on any sort of forum and interact in any motorcycle community, any bike night without people talking about camshafts made of cheese.
Yes, this was a huge story over the last 2-3 years. We've covered it extensively here on the channel. And it also, I think, Logan, was like, not only was it just like an immediate reply that people would give, like anything KTM, it was cheese cams, but it was also like everybody and their dog was making videos about this because people realized that it was kind of bubbling up and percolating. And it has really done a lot of damage to KTM, you know? I think the way that they handled it and then the way that it kind of played out, you know, now they're like, we have a 4-year unlimited mile warranty, like please buy our bikes. And then they, like, separate of that, entered a bunch of like financial problems, but people thought it was because of the cams. So it spiraled so far out of control. And I think it has really cemented itself as a meme that will probably be with us for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
This is one that different from the Crankin My Hog one. This is like the damage that done to the reputation of KTM and the owners of these bikes and all this stuff. I think it's just solidified now.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, as a Ducatisti, I have to hear this a lot. Ducatis are unreliable, Italian pieces of junk. It doesn't matter how nice the bikes are nowadays because they had this reputation for so long of like, they leak oil, they're a little harder to maintain, like they're a little, challenging, that it sticks.
Yeah, and why I think the KTM thing's gonna stick around for so long, all those Ducati stereotypes came to be like prior to social media too, like just through word of mouth ownership experience. Social media was a main part of that. That Facebook group, I remember, was like bubbling tens of thousands of people angry about their melting camshafts.
Yeah, and I think what it is too, it was so like, you've never heard of this happening on any other bike ever. Like, this is not a common thing. Like, melting camshafts, not melting them, wearing them down like cheese, right? Because the oil wasn't getting to the top of the engine. It's kind of like, wow, how does that even happen? It feels like something that would happen like a 1940s motorcycle. You're like, why would that happen? So, unfortunately, this one I think is going to stick around. I think this reputation for KTM is here to stay. Yeah, it's a reason why I haven't even done any KTMs as a giveaway bike.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really want to like do that.
Yeah, it's a little almost controversial or polarizing,
Yeah. All right, next on the list is not a bike, it's not a manufacturer, it's something really specific that we see a lot of, and it's the Michelin Road fixes. So, Logan, a specific tire has become a bit of a meme, and the reason for that, and I think we have a part to play in that, is because it's kind of become a solved problem for motorcycle riders. It's sort of like these guys want to have the super Corsas that look cool on their bike or whatever, and it's like, unless you're doing track days, you don't need that kind of rubber. I hate to tell you, that's just facts. Sport touring rubber lasts a long time, it does all these things. We've been saying these things for so long now that I'm seeing it everywhere. People are just like, just get the Road 6s, just call it a day.
Yeah, because doing pre-production for this video, there's all these things, memes you and I see, but I'm like, okay, I have to confirm this isn't specific to my reality, right? So I'm doing, you just search Road 6s, and then there's like dozens of forum posts from the last like 3 to 5 months of people being like, what tire should I get for my bike? They're like, no, and everyone's like, Road 6s. They're like, no, but I ride a street triple, and like, Road 6s. And like, oh, but no, I ride an SV650, and like, Road 6s.
Yeah.
And then people will say, what tire should I get for my bike? And then people will comment, in before Michelin Road 6s. Like, it's like a meme now. It's funny that people are still asking what tire to get when there's infinite people saying, get Road 6s for 90% of street riders.
I think it's because in a normal universe, if this was just the rubber that you should put on your bike, like I guess from the entry-level rider, they're like, well, why does any other tire exist even if this is the only tire I should ever get? And so I understand why it causes confusion. If you're just riding on road and you have like a street bike with 17s, which is the vast majority of street-based motorcycles, just get Road 6s. I mean, we say it all the time too. I don't really see why you'd get anything else, because they work really great in the wet, they work great in the dry, they last forever. I mean, I've seen guys get 15,000 miles out of a rear tire, which for a motorcycle tire, that's like
pretty good,
3 times the normal amount of wear.
Sure.
It really doesn't matter what bike you have, just get Road 6s. Do you think this meme will last?
I don't know if it'll stay a meme so far. I think I've only been seeing this for maybe 6 months a year, like in a humorous context.
Yeah.
But will it remain sort of the be-all, end-all average street rider tire, at least for the foreseeable future? I don't know.
I think so. I think what's happening is like the hive mind is coalescing around it, specifically like the Reddit, and I think like AI models are being trained on it so that when you query, Grok or GPT or what's the other one? Claude, whoever the hell. They all have these crazy names. Zane. I think it'll just gonna keep saying Pilot Road 6s because it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy almost, So I think this is it. We've solved the mystery of motorcycle tire, Road 6. That's it. I'll put a question mark for you because you were kind of like, I don't know if it'll last.
Yeah. So maybe not as controversial as the KTM camshaft situation, or maybe equally or more controversial depending on who you ask. The R6 versus R9 debate was all anybody was talking about, specifically online, in the last couple years. But I feel like in recent months, maybe the last 6 months or so, it's really kind of died down. I think the R9 is market proven, if you will. It's won some races, it's a cool bike, people like it. But still, there's a very specific R6 evangelist that is most vocal R6 lover on the face of the earth, and it is the International R6 Defender. So what do we mean by the International R6 Defender?
So this is a phenomenon that I've seen where I've just been curious, where every time I see a comment being like, R9 sucks, R6 best, I'm like, who is this person? What are they saying? and it's almost always like a Malaysian or Indonesian or, you know, Southeast Asian, particularly like an Indian guy. Like, it's always somebody in like Southeast Asia who is just like, this is the greatest bike. And I'm like, why? Why is this happening? And my only theory that I have is that this audience, I know that they're like diehard like racing and MotoGP fans. Like, one of the biggest bases for MotoGP is in this region of the world. That's I'm painting broad strokes here. That's like a billion people that I just talked about. But I think it's because it's a race-derived product, because I think there was like the Valentino Rossi effect, the Marc Marquez effect, you know, like they have like the idol culture, like, oh, it's the idol, he's amazing. And I think that products like the R9, they don't have that same visceral emotional appeal, and it's always like the sky-high revs and this and that. But I'm also kind of convinced it's like a bot farm that's doing this, like, because that region of the world is notorious for having like these giant farms of people who just like comment online for whatever you want them to comment. You can literally buy like the time of like 1,000 people and have them comment whatever you want to comment. And so I'm kind of like, is this real?
But who's signing those checks?
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, who wants it's just, it boggles the mind, you know? But I do agree with you that, you know, now that the R7 launched and it was like a big problem, that's been 5 years now. And then the R9 launched, big problem. But again, like, they've sold a bunch of them, people are riding them, enjoying them. Like, it's a proven platform. I think it's died down a little bit, but God almighty, the R6 Defenders. And it's R6 specifically, not just 600s, not ZX6s, it's the R6. People just go to bat for that bike. I don't know why.
Yeah, and I think the difference being maybe, you know, here in the United States at least, like you see these bikes relatively, like you can see an R9, you can see these bikes are cool, people like them and whatever, but in these other countries where everyone's riding like Honda Waves and stuff, they exist solely in like mythos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And because it doesn't have the R9 or R7 don't have anywhere near the pedigree that the R6 and the R1 have from like Yamaha's glory days, they're like, there's no way this can supplant the R6 in their mind. So
this one, I think it's waning. I don't think it'll last. I was worried whenever the R7 came out. I was like, this will never end, you know? But I think as more time goes on, people are just accepting it, and I don't think it's gonna last. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. What do you think?
I agree. Like we've seen it kind of wane in general. Like for a while, it was all anyone was talking about, especially when we had the R9 giveaway. It was like every single day, inundated with R6 comments.
Yeah.
Where now, I think it's waning, and sooner or later, maybe there'll be some new figurehead of the super sport, you know, fandom.
CFMOTO V4.
Or ZX-Moto.
ZX-Moto. I want one of those. I like the story. If anyone at ZX-Moto is watching, give me one. I'll buy one. Just make it available to me. I want it. It looks interesting. It's my kind of bike. Moving on. Plenty of people on YouTube are going to tell you all of the secrets to unlocking the most epic cinematic moto vlogs, outlining it in 15 actionable steps as if there's some sort of linked influencer, when in reality, there's no secret. Get a DJI Action 6 and the Mic Mini, that's it. Perfect moto vlogs. I solved it for you in 10 seconds for free. No courses required. Seriously, DJI's cameras have made this work so easy. I do it all the time, and I'm honestly flabbergasted. You mount the Action 6 to your helmet, you instantly pair the wireless mic, and off you go. The variable aperture and the 1/1.1 inch square sensor results in dynamic footage. The built-in storage and 4-hour battery life means no lost footage or rides cut short. Rock steady stabilization and horizon steady keeps your shots dialed even when you're riding aggressively and leaning side to side. And if you're all about those late night meetups, Super Night Mode reduces noise and adds clarity to night footage, something that's usually pretty hard to capture correctly on an action camera. If you want to just stop overthinking your motovlog setup, just go with DJI. The Action 6 paired with one of the DJI microphones is a one-step solution. Hit the link in the description to learn more about what makes DJI cameras so special and maybe pick one up for yourself. Thanks to DJI for the support. Now let's get back to the show. Logan, this may be the one I was most excited to talk about today.
Okay.
This trend, this meme, because you and I see it so often, and it is so strange because it's so specific, but yet it keeps coming up. It is, of course, Suzuki Bandit 1200 evangelists. People who talk about their Suzuki Bandit 1200. Such a random, specific model to be so vociferous about. And the only conclusion I can come with is its survivorship bias.
Yeah,
we talked about this, where these were detuned, big, air-cooled inline fours, simple cradle frame. They made 100,000 of them last I checked. And so I think, Gixxers came and went, Boosas came and went. The Bandit has endured, and for some reason, its 9th owner is like, this is the greatest bike ever.
Right.
So what do you think about this bike?
Yeah, I mean, I think because there are tons of motorcycles, a lot of them from Suzuki, that have had, super long tenures. You think the SV650, DRZ, but the type of people that own DRZs, they live hard lives, right?
Yeah.
An SV650 gets crashed and rebuilt and taken to the track, turned into a scrambler, who knows what's happening. The Bandit 1200 is the person's just like, just perfect the way it is. I don't need more power than this. I don't need whatever. So it's a combination of this, like, the robustness and the timelessness of the motorcycle that endures forever, and also the hard-headedness of like a seasoned owner that's like, I don't need these trends, I don't need those winglets. This bike does everything I need it to do, and it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a do-anything bike. It's like, it's got agreeable ergonomics. It's kind of fat and big, but it's not too fat and big.
Inline four.
Don't silence the screams. But it doesn't make that much power either. It makes like 90 horsepower or something, And I say all these things about the bike, and I'm realizing how hypocritical I sound, right? The power, the displacement, the style. I'm like, that sounds like I'm describing my own Monster 1100S. So I think I can understand why people go to bat for this bike. I find them to be very vanilla plain Jane. They don't have too much exciting about it, but I think that's why people like them too. They're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
right?
What's so interesting about the Bandit is like how enigmatic it is, because there are other motorcycles, for instance, pot calling the kettle black. I have a Sportster that I love because it's simple, it's air-cooled, it's carbureted, it'll run forever with very basic maintenance and simple parts. But people don't really talk about the Sportster the way the Bandit 1200, like the Bandit 1200 owner is like, I've ascended.
And people will say it out of nowhere too. It's a video about, the new Panigale V4 or whatever, and people are like, Bandit 1200 though, and you're like, how is that related to anything anyone's talking about? But leave it to a Suzuki owner to be able to, slide in their bike in any conversation. Honestly, side note, that is one of my biggest pet peeves in talking to people, is when you're talking about something and they slide in like whatever they want to talk about, and you're like, I don't want to talk about the thing you're talking about. So I will give this piece of advice to you guys. If you're young and you want to talk about bikes all the time, don't do it. If you're hanging out with your friends and they're not motorcycle people, just leave it to the, don't talk about it.
Yeah, talk about Marvel, Star Wars, licensed IP goes a long way, Ray Dunn cookie jars, just keep it very mass appeal.
Yeah, let your freak out slowly, then people will acquiesce to you a little bit. Bandit 1200, is it going to last the test of time? I think it already has lasted the test of time. It's crazy. They stopped making this bike in 2006, and people are still talking about it. People are still saying they're still on the road. And again, I agree with you that like people aren't modifying them or changing them enough, and so they will just run forever. The Bandit 1200 is going to be a fixture in our motorcycling world from now on. So yeah, I think it's going to last. Do you think it's going to last?
No, I agree. Like I said, we're seeing it last.
Yeah.
It, by all metrics, should have not be a bike people are talking about on a daily basis, yet they are. So.
I'd probably see it every week.
So a lot of these memes we're sort of hearing about a lot in 2026 are specific bikes, certain scandals, certain riding archetypes. This one is even more specific and esoteric than that, but still one of the most prevalent we've been talking. That's why it ranks so high on the list. It is round headlights.
Round headlights. You're seeing this everywhere.
A manufacturer puts out a concept bike. It's an AI rendering of a motorcycle. It's the most egregious, grotesque thing, but it has a round headlight, and everyone comments, man, that round headlight, it's freaking beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. This is how bikes should look. And I think it's also like manufacturers have realized that people are going gaga over the round headlight. And what's crazy to me is they can make a bike look grotesque or bad in every other way, but if they put a round headlight on it, they go, wow, what a good looking bike. Perfect example is the Trident 800. I think the styling of that bike is all over the place, and it looks really weird. And it, like, if you actually look at it, it's not a very successful looking motorcycle, but they put a round headlight on it, and so everyone's like, wow, this is so cool. And I don't know, I'm personally of the opinion that I think it's great that they exist. I think we should sell bikes with round headlights if people want them, but I also like, more daring design. Take a risk, Sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's fine. Like, I think KTM stuff looks awful. That's just my taste, right? Street Triple, Bug Eyes, I think they're sick. I think trying new stuff is cool. And I always say that we live in an everywhere, everything, all the time world, maximalist energy. You can have all these things at the same time. You don't have to pick one or the other. But round headlight people, Logan, they want to live in a craven world where it's just round headlights.
Just round headlights and like gray jumpsuits, and there's one brand of toilet paper.
It's just boring. It's boring.
Right. Yeah,
don't get
and
it.
like you said, I think design should be daring and interesting, and like I'd rather a company take a big swing and maybe fall a little short. At least they tried something different, you know?
Yeah.
And some of the most like kind of now iconic motorcycles are the ones that were really kind of strange and polarizing, like the first Multistrada. Like even now you look at it and you're like, what the heck even is this?
Yeah.
But it's kind of sick, because at least it looks different and it looks unique and looks special. Even think about ones that were successful, the most beautiful motorcycle in the world, the Ducati 916, like art designed by designer, form meets function, whatever. People's standards are so low now, it's like you just put a round headlight on it and they're like, it's bloody brilliant.
Yeah, it's bloody brilliant. So yeah, as you can tell, we're a bit bored of the round headlight thing.
Yeah.
And again, this is high on the prevalency today because people talk about this all the damn time.
So do you think the round headlight craze is gonna last? The round headlight fandom?
Unfortunately, yes. I
Really?
think so. Yeah. I think there is a yearning for the past, a hearkening for older things, even if they're served to you in this like slopified way. People say, it looks like old bikes, and I'm like,
Sure.
again, the Trident 800, I'm like, I hate the dog on that bike, but I'm like, it just doesn't look right. It just looks weird. And it just looks like they've made it look that way because they knew it was gonna sell better.
Yeah, they're like,
Which I think is lame.
Yeah, they're like, let's kind of soften all the edges of something unique and interesting to make it vaguely pleasant.
Yeah, vaguely pleasant. So
Vaguely
yeah,
pleasant.
unfortunately, I do think it's gonna stick around. I wish it didn't, but yeah. What about you?
I'm gonna challenge this and say I don't think it's gonna stick around.
Ooh.
I think it's a direct sort of rejection of the, think about how many times someone, like an M29 SP is like, again, solve problem for a street bike. It's probably only ride on the street or maybe occasional track day and you want something sporty but comfortable and fun. M29 SP.
On Road 6s.
On Road 6s. But then everyone comments like, oh, it's just too ugly for me, man. Like
Yeah.
naked bikes are too ugly for me. And I mean, Yamaha made the whole XSR thing because for the people that thought
Yeah.
naked bikes are ugly. Sooner or later, people are gonna be like, okay, I'm sick of all these round headlights. I want something different because everyone just wants to, so many people want to reject what's popular or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do think it'll swing back around. And I think interesting things, interesting design I think it's inevitable.
Speaking of personality or lack thereof, Logan, there is a new specimen, perhaps the 2020s version of the Gixxer Squid, a new character, a new lane of motorcycling has opened up
A new
completely.
foe has appeared.
A new foe has appeared. I'm so excited to talk about this one. It's CFMOTO Brayden. We're gonna call it here. We're labeling it.
Yeah.
If I hear this later on in the zeitgeist, I'm like, we made that meme. Logan, who is CFMOTO Brayden?
So CFMOTO Brayden is like the average new rider in 2026. They're maybe 20 to 25 years old, born on the internet. Their value system is completely separate of what you or I or older rider generations, value. Brand legacy be damned, heritage be damned, proven platforms be damned. They like $8,000 to finance, or no, I got approved for $8,000 with a 15% APR. I want as much bike as possible. I want it to have all the tech. I want it to look good on social media. It's the only bike I've ever owned, and it's the best bike on planet Earth. It's of course a CFMOTO.
Yeah, I also think it's the type of guy he's defaulted on his burrito loans.
Yeah.
He is going out
Klarna,
and
yeah.
Klarna maxing. I think this young gentleman is just very emblematic of the current socioeconomic landscape. And I also think a young man who has been brought up in the age of COVID and hyper, digitalization of their lives, graduated, through a screen or something like that, had all these supposed to be meaningful, very primordial experiences taken away from them, and so now, their brains are broken in ways that we may only understand 20 or 30 years from now.
Right.
We may have a cohort of people who are like, oh shit, those are the ones that really got screwed up during the pandemic. And I do think that they do end up on CFMOTOs more often than not.
Yeah.
They're the type of rider who makes vlogs being like, chat, what should I do next? Chat, I'm gonna go out into the middle of the road. Haha, what if I just KMS right now, And you're like, damn, dude, this is. It's a crazy.
It's cultural nihilism.
It's cultural nihilism. CFMOTO Brayden. But yeah, it's someone who is just trying to maximize dollar per value for a new motorcycle is yeeting themselves through the financing arrangements of it. And I will say to you, from what I've seen, flames out very quickly from motorcycling.
Yeah, for
maybe the Gixxer Squids of days past also did that way, but I gotta say, maybe it's just like, you know, rose-tinted glasses, but I feel like Gixxer Squids were like pretty talented riders, you know, like popping wheelies at 90 miles an hour. I'm like, that's, you know, it takes some skill to do that.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, well, you had to, right, on bikes like that, you know, in 2005 or whatever, right? Like,
are you saying men were real men back in the day, Logan? And now
they got bangs.
CFMOTO bangs.
These soy boy beta CFMOTO owners.
No, come on, that's silly. Yeah, I just think like, I'm just seeing this new form of rider appearing. And it's cool because it's like, Chinese bikes literally 5 years ago were a joke. Nobody even like rode them. You know, I told a story that, you know, it's like we got invited to the CFMOTO press event and for the 300 SS, and I was like, I'm not gonna go to that. Like, what is this brand? Like, I don't. What is this random brand? And now look at them. You know,
it's kind of crazy.
It's so fast what's happening, and yeah, I think like these guys, like Royal Enfield riders, like, you know, it's creating a whole new genre of motorcyclist.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this one I think is going to stick around. Absolutely.
Definitely.
I don't know what's going to become of CFMOTO Brayden. You know, you made the joke in that video, like the gray-haired Brayden thinking about his sweatpants and stuff in the distant future.
Right.
But I think this is here to stay. This is absolutely a new genre of motorcycling.
Yeah, it's motorcycling through like the filter of the weird state of the world.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, what's the final one? Let's find out.
So again, we talk about for every Gixxer Squid, there's also a Kawasaki Kyle, you know? And for every CFMOTO Brayden, there's a leader bike Clout Goblin. It's sort of like the chaotic good and the chaotic evil of the two worlds.
Leader bike Clout Goblin. Why don't we paint a picture, Logan? A word picture, yeah, because it's a bit vague. Why is this the most prevalent meme?
Because yeah, if you go on social media, typically short form social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, you see everywhere you look, if you are into motorcycles, you see the same sort of kid, 19, 20-year-old kid, leader bike, AGV Pista helmet, Alpine Stars, NBT skinny jeans, super big hoodie. Like, you guys make fun of me for wearing big shirts. Imagine if this shirt was 3 times bigger. That's how big their hoodies are.
Also, what you want Logan to wear baby Gap clothes? Like, he's a grown-ass man. Like, he's gonna wear shirt, like, I wear shirts that are too small because I refuse to buy new ones. Logan's wearing appropriate clothing for his age. His 23-year-old.
Right. So yeah, and then they make the content that's, you know, not bike talk content specifically, like not so horny and weird, but like very like flex offender stuff and like, you know, the highway, like weird dancing or like talking like at the camera or like not even talking, but like the text on the screen. I'm so separate of short form content. I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? The text is on the screen.
Yeah.
Subtitles.
Yeah, they're the type of people that also, it's like the film and like their hands are in the frame and they're like pointing and talking about stuff. It's like a whole genre of rider that it's like a copy paste, you know, like black hoodie, AGV, S1000. Never a Ducati. I will say, I don't know why. Maybe they can't get that Ducati financing, but it's always like R1 or S1000.
I have heard BMW has good financing.
I think that's why they can get them, because they're not too far removed from CFMOTO Brayden.
Right.
Maybe CFMOTO Brayden just endures into leader bike Clout Goblin. I don't know. Maybe that's the pipeline we're seeing. But this has to be like the #1 character of the 2020s in motorcycling. There's so many of these guys. I don't even like, I thought it was like just one guy for a long time. I was like, this one guy's really out there printing content. But there's like dozens of these guys.
Right.
And what I worry about, especially as someone who I've made content on YouTube for 11 years now, if you can believe it, I just don't think there's much staying power in that. I think if you're gonna make content where you're just like riding fast, wearing a hoodie, you know, if your content can be replicated so easily by dozens of other, you know, leader bike Clout Goblins, you're kind of screwed, you know?
Yeah, and I think from just like a broader cultural context, it's such a shame, right? We live in a global world. You have access to infinite information in your pocket. Don't be the exact same as everybody else, right? Like find something, find your different take on motorcycling. Not even content alone, but like how you live your life and what you value and what you appreciate and what you want to experience. That's just always the crazy part to me. Is like that there's thousands of people doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, I don't want to do the exact same thing. I want to be different.
I think that there's some comfort in that, though. I think that there's people who find great comfort in like, I don't want to cultivate a sense of self. I don't want to create an identity. I can just be this identity and just call it a day. And I get that. I think it's a unfulfilling way to live your life because I find great enjoyment and fulfillment of like discovering things about myself and creating the identity and whatever. But I think for a lot of people, it's just like, nah, I'm just gonna do this and call it a day.
Yeah.
You know, what's cool? I just want to do what's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
And then you end up with Jacob Elordi haircuts everywhere. Because he's so cool.
Yeah.
He's so hot and cool. Leader by Clout Goblin. Is it gonna last, or will it transform? Leader by Clout Goblin to me is like it's a new permutation of the squids we saw in the past. You know, weirdly enough though, like lower skill, higher gear. We talked about how you know we were clowning on them a little bit, but hey, at least these guys are wearing like a proper full face helmet, gauntlet gloves, boots, like mostly slide resistant apparel. That's good. I like to see that. You know, it's not guys not wearing any helmets, just doing top speed revs. Russians do that for some reason. I don't know why, but Russians post on social media like no helmet, just like full pin and just like their mouths open up. Like they post crazy stuff. Yeah. But yeah, will it last? I'm gonna put a question mark. I'm not really sure if it's gonna continue or just like morph into something else.
Yeah, I think the starter pack itself won't last.
No.
But it'll be some other thing. There'll be some other sort of monoculture squid that exists. I think there has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, we need that foil in motorcycling. This like reckless young man squid rider who we've called squid now for what, 30, 40 years. That term has been, I mean, talk about memes that have endured. That term has just, it's so solidified.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't even consider that a meme at this point. It's just
it's just like we just say it.
It's vernacular.
Yeah, and I feel like we've kind of reclaimed that word on Yami Noob. It's a term of endearment. It's for me, it's someone who just has kind of fun with motorcycling in a somewhat responsible way. But I do think these guys not as responsible. But weirdly enough, some of them love to virtue signal about how responsible they are, which is so funny. Like they have the S1000 and they're like, I'm gonna make it back home tonight. And I'm like, well then why are you riding a 200 horsepower
Of course they gotta make it back
missile?
home. Their mom put chicken nuggets in the air fryer.
So mom's got bagel bites waiting for me, bro. I gotta get back. Y'all know you don't own homes. Y'all know that you're going back to mama, okay? All right, Logan, I'm gonna put, what do you, question mark?
I think it's a question mark,
Okay, the whole thing is a bit of a question mark with the leader by Clout Goblins. But that's gonna be our ranking for 2026 motorcycle memes and trends. What do you guys think? Are there any others that are kind of appearing that you're seeing? Let us know in the comments down below. I know you think that we're two chopped unks just hopelessly talking about things we don't understand, but I do try to be on the up and up with what's happening. At some point, Logan, I will be phased out of relevancy though. I will. But 11 years on YouTube, still relevant.
That's pretty good.
Not many people can make that claim. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.